All right, this case, one of two big, highly anticipated trials here at Court TV next week. This one and the Paul Canero trial. We're going to talk about at 9 o'clock tonight. But let's bring back in our think tank, Josh Kolsrud, King, Holland Reed. Josh, the allegations against this IRS agent are like the level of planning and plotting and the sickness of this whole thing, of allegedly creating an account on a fetish website for his wife to lure a man to come over to carry out this rape fantasy, and then all along planning on just going, bursting in on him and shooting him and then stabbing her to frame the guy that he just shot for the murder of his wife. This is sick stuff.
Well, it's sick, and that's if you take everything that the prosecution has said at their word. I mean, there's three different possibilities here. I mean, number one, that Juliana is the puppet master. Number two, that Brandon is. Or number three, that, it's what Scott or Brandon really said it was. He walked in and he felt like his wife was under attack and he stopped it. Now, there's enough gaps in the evidence here that you really can't say that the prosecution has a very strong case, because they don't. Their case hinges entirely on the credibility of a person who has a motive to lie. And that's going to be pointed out. So what is the corroborating evidence? Because you have to have corroborating evidence whenever you have a snitch as a witness, because juries don't like snitches unless there is a reason to believe them. So what do they have? Well, they have a profile on a website for people who are into fetishes, but it all came from the wife's phone. And they infer that Brandon had access to it, but there's no evidence that he did, or at least no direct evidence. There's nothing that has his personal IP address. They're going to rely on language, that this is not the way that she would write text messages. This is more in style of Brandon's. But again, that's an inference. And there are a lot of inferences here. So I don't think this is going to be a very easy case for the prosecution.
Holland, when I think about the situation, right, the bottom line is that Brendan Banfield and his child's au pair, before the double murder, was with the au pair already. So the affair with the au pair precedes the murder of his wife and Joseph Ryan, the man who came over with the knife that morning. I think that will lay heavily with this jury. But Josh is right. It's going to be the testimony of this Brazilian au pair who's in her 20s.
Vinny, first and foremost, who wrote this script? Because it's terrible. This is the most ridiculous, predictable script in history. You've got the nanny or the au pair that comes over, the foreigner, what have you. But we cannot blame the idea of her being an au pair. This was a decision by two adults to get into an affair in the first place. An affair is one thing, murder is something completely different. And then hire for murder, plotting for murder, everything that Josh just said. It's going to be hard to prove who was the puppeteer, who wrote the script, what was the motive in all of this. Did she want to stay in the United States? Did she want to marry this man? Was he in love with her? They wanted to get rid of the wife. There are so many things at play. And then also going back to Josh's point about the phone, when we have access to people's phones, that's something that people do that all the time, create fake accounts. They use different computers, tablets, and what have you. So there's going to be a lot to prove here, but who wrote the script, I think, is going to be the biggest upheaval for the prosecution and for the defense, because this is the worst written script that I've seen when it comes to true crime and anything involving these levels of, indecencies.
Yeah, Claudia, I'm waiting to see the defense tell this jury that Christine Banfield was into BDSM and rape fantasies, especially first thing in the morning.
Yeah, I mean, they cannot bash the victim like that, and that's what they're seemingly going to have to do. And I want to say, to Holland's point, Here's who wrote the script. In 1995 in Illinois, Mark Winger did this exact thing. He lured his wife's creepy shuttle airport driver to their house and pretended that the shuttle driver was killing the wife. He came in and
Wow.
saved the day by killing the shuttle driver. He was having an affair with his nanny as well. So I think these two
Yeah.
about this case.
So it's a repeat. Everything's a remake.
It's a repeat.
We're out of time.
It's a repeat. It's not original.
Claudia King, Holland Reed, Josh Kolsrud, thank you so much. When we come back, something else you need to know tonight.